We keep hearing that dirt is moving on Villain's Land, but it seems that Tropical Americas over at Disney's Animal Kingdom is actually starting construction now. But what's very interesting is, according to the permits in a story out of Blog Mickey, it looks like the Tropical Americas expansion might actually be a reduction from what Dinoland USA is today. Is this another case of Disney refusing to add capacity to their parks? Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is Mr. VashSky. Vash, have you seen any Brontosaurus lately?
Ooh, I have not seen the Brontosaurus lately, but I have seen a couple of animatronics that kind of look like dinosaurs in some kind of show building. I say look like it because they don't really move the way they have before in the past.
That's, well, in the past, that's when all the dinosaurs moved. But let's go to this story out of Blog Mickey. New permit reveals plans for Dinoland USA demolition and final layout of Tropical America's Land at Animal Kingdom. Kudos to Blog Mickey and Mike over there for finding this one. A newly filed permit from Walt Disney World outlines the plans for the demolition of Dinoland USA section of Disney's Animal Kingdom, the final layout for the Tropical America's Land, or as Jim Shull likes to call it, the Topical America's Land, to replace it. As a reminder, the new Tropical America's Land will feature an all-new Encanto-themed ride, an all-new carousel featuring popular Disney characters, and a rethemed dinosaur attraction into an Indiana Jones-themed ride. That Encanto ride, by the way, we're hearing the rumor going around is that it's going to be something in the style of Mystic Manor, but I think in actuality, it's probably going to be a clamshell ride, or at least that's what we've been hearing here on That Park Place from one of our more trusted sources. I don't know. That's still a grain of salt. But what we do know is that the all-new carousel featuring popular Disney characters looks neat for a carousel. They're being carved by a South American elder who loves Disney, and he's doing individual animals, and they're going to be put into the carousel after they do models based off of those wood carvings there. And Indiana Jones theme, well, they've done that a few times, so they're probably not going to mess it up too badly. Perhaps Ke Huy Quan will be involved. And there it is, Dinoland USA. I don't remember going in from this way, so it must be from this direction that you come in here. Vash, you are more familiar with this story than I am. It sounds like this might not actually be an expansion.
Yeah, I mean, when you take it all holistically, right? When you take it all comprehensively, it doesn't feel much like an expansion to me. You can kind of see right here, DSNY actually had a pretty good breakdown of what this actually looks like from translating the patents into a more, let's say, user-friendly view, aerial view of what this is all supposed to look like. And the thing is you're taking Triceratops Spin, the old Primeval Whirl, and some of the games and midway games that were in here, and the dig site, and you're replacing them with essentially just the carousel and the Encanto experience. So when you take what previously existed in the space into account, it doesn't really feel like an expansion. And it's interesting because I think Scott Walker 88 on Twitter also had a visualization of the current site, what it looks like right now, and what they plan to do via the permits. You can kind of see right here the overlay. It's not quite an expansion in the traditional sense. I mean, perhaps, you prefer an Encanto dark ride to flat rides, but in terms of just the capacity elevation, I'm not quite seeing it here.
So as I'm understanding, it looks like they're going to be getting rid of a few things in order to accommodate this. Also, we have seen internal documentation of this, and the person from Imagineering told their group of people. Now, this person from Imagineering does not know that we know that they said this, but said they've been told by Josh tomorrow that you can't just slap a coat of paint on it. It actually has to look transformed. It can't just be recoloring what is existing there. So right there, Vash, you witnessed the same things that I did. It sounds like this is value Imagineering at this point, as opposed to actually a new land.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you had to think what precipitated a note like that to come out of Josh Giamaro. He wasn't just putting that in there just to put that in there like, hey, make sure it doesn't look like these buildings have been repainted. based on what he had seen, he passed that note along because potentially it could have looked like that these buildings were repainted, and that was the note that was provided. I'm guessing the reason why these buildings or facades may have looked that way is because I'm guessing the Imagineers weren't given all that big a budget to begin with. And it's interesting because the Imagineer who actually said that was offering it in a way you could tell there may have been some tension regarding that between what the Imagineers perhaps may have wanted to do and what they are limited to what they can do, essentially, with the resources provided. So that's a really interesting dynamic playing out there. But essentially, we kind of know, based on what we've been hearing, that this isn't the most ambitious reimagining that's ever taken place, which follows a long line of ambitionless reimaginings that have taken place on Walt Disney World property, sadly.
Yeah, and I would totally agree with you. I would like to see an Indiana Jones dark ride on the East Coast. I see no problem with it. I think the farther we get away from Dial of Destiny, which not many people went to go see, that's probably good. Encanto is a bona fide hit for Disney at this point, even though it flopped at the theaters. It was a massive success on Disney Plus. That and Moana are the biggest properties on Disney Plus consistently, with Frozen in there as well. And of course, the IP carousel, it's good. The C-ticket attractions at Disney, they need more of those, especially at Disney's Animal Kingdom. This is the thing, especially our excellent friend, Mr. Joshua Harris over there from Epcot Legacy. Should go check out E82 and in all of his projects. This is one that he and I very much agree on. Disney needs more rides that are not necessarily big e-ticket attractions. They need smaller rides that keep the capacity of the park high. And this IP carousel is something along those lines. They want this Encanto ride to be a people eater. If they're putting it in clamshells, those are obviously a continuous movement of people. I don't know if they will Imagineer that in order to make it to where they have better disability access for that ride. Obviously, the constant stops at Haunted Mansion come to mind if it does indeed end up being a clamshell ride like we are currently hearing.
Yeah, we're hearing that it might be an Omnimover type attraction. So that's where the kind of clamshell vernacular comes from, right? Because we've seen clamshells used something like Haunted Mansion or Little Mermaid. But I think there was a piece of content that was released that suggested that this was going to be an Omnimover type experience where you weren't going to be secluded in like a shell per se, but you were still going to be moving around on this kind of continuous motion base, similar to those previous attractions. So
You're right. I apologize. I just associate Omnimover and clamshell.
No,
they
you're
don't
fine.
have to be clamshells in order to be an Omnimover, but you're right.
I think what's interesting is that when you take into account the dig site that used to be there, that used to provide this kind of runaround play area for kids, and now you're going to be taking that away. We've already taken away Primeval Whirl. We're going to be replacing a spinner with another one, going from Triceratops spin to the new carousel and so forth. Like, I agree with the sentiment that you really do need a variety of experiences, especially Disney parks, because so many kids frequent these parks, and not every single kid obviously can go on every e-tickets out there. You really need a variety of experiences so the whole family can enjoy them. I guess not having a play area where people can run around or kids can run around, not maintaining the attractions that they had, but just replacing them in such a way that you really don't get an expansion out of it, I think is a missed opportunity. Because I think there were experiences that you could have overlaid on the experiences they already had while adding these things that they will be essentially adding. You're not going to be reusing any infrastructure for the carousel nor this dark ride, so why get rid of those former attractions? Primeval Whirl I can kind of understand, but the others, I'm not sure if I do.
Yeah, and I will say this is every now and then, and every Disney fan has this, where there's some attraction that does not connect with them that everyone else connects with, and for me, Dinoland USA was mostly that. I've been on Dinosaur every time I've gone out to Animal Kingdom. Pretty much, I've gone on Dinosaur. Everest was probably my favorite one in the entire park. Obviously, a different land here, but Dinoland USA was never one that really struck me as, oh, this needs to be here. Vash, is there anything else we need to throw in here about what sounds like a reduction at Tropical America's Land? The rides could be great. I'm not saying anything against the rides just yet. We're going to wait until they actually come out before we do any reviews of them. But this does look like they are trying really hard to spin straw into gold.
Yes, it does seem like they are trying really hard to spin straw into gold. We'll see what actually happens with this. I think the article makes reference to a supposed timeline that could have the Encanto ride open as soon as 2027, which seems ambitious to me, but we'll have to see how that actually takes place. I heard that these things were shovel ready. Apparently, we're finally getting shovels out here pretty soon. No timeline yet on when these things should be coming to us, but this should be the first of these supposed shovel-ready projects that were announced at D23 that should be coming to us. So we have no timeline or nothing listed for the Monsters, Inc. attraction, for example, or the Monsters, Inc. Land, Rivers of America, all that. But this is definitely the first one to move. So it should be interesting to watch because whatever they do here, with the quality level and so forth, how much time and energy they spent, how many resources they apply, should give us a good indication about how committed the Walt Disney Company is, not just to this project, but for the entire Walt Disney World Resort in the future.
Oh, no, that's terrifying. But with that thought, let's throw this to our commenters. What do you think is going to be the output here? Is it a reduction in size, or is it a reduction in quality? I'm thinking that there's still quite the possibility of the quality being there. I mean, Disney has done many Omni-Mover attractions, and Indiana Jones, they've probably had a lot of time to think about what they're going to do there. And carousels, I mean, they've been doing carousels since day one. Let us know your thoughts on everything in the comment section down below. Of course, like this video if you like this video. And if you haven't, then please consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.